Hi, this is Dave, and before we get to the show, I wanted to ask you a favor. One of our goals this year is to grow the show so that What Does Star Wars Mean to You reaches more listeners. And that's where we're asking you for help. And it's really easy. Wherever you listen to us, please hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on the platform you listen to us. We make a lot of fun of the algorithm and the smash that button thing, but it really does help us get noticed by new fans. And if you want to join in on the conversation, find us on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 in the letter U. Now, let's chat some Star Wars. Hello there. This is Dave, and you're listening to What Does Star Wars Mean to You? This is the show where we talk to all kinds of fans of Star Wars, from industry insiders to indie artists, from mega collectors to obsessive mythologists, to find out how Star Wars impacted their life. Here's the thing, Star Wars has become so divisive that it's almost impossible to talk about without starting a hate debate. So let's change the conversation from what is right or wrong with Star Wars to what does Star Wars mean to you? Today, it's episode 6, Dave Sherrill, part 2. Now, Dave is a novelty artist from Canton, Ohio, who is in the act of conquering the art geek world one thrift store painting at a time. He finds unloved thrift store paintings and brings new life to them by adding pop culture icons to the pastoral settings. Think a Bob Ross painting with a perfectly integrated ATST in it. His art has been featured on Reddit, Newsweek.com, Board Panda, NPR, those little TVs on the gas pump at Speedway, and many, many more places. And you can check out his work at daverunesart.com. And all his links are in the podcast show notes. But first, a couple of things. It's Thursday, April 13th, and with Star Wars Celebration and Mandalorian Chapter 23, there's so much to talk about. Did my energy just change really fast? Because that's how much stuff there is, I have to amp up the energy. First of all, who else put their mouths up to the complete fire hose of information that was Star Wars Celebration? Good God, there was so much news. So much so I can't even possibly cover it all. And the other thing is, you know what? A lot of it has been covered. Let's face it. It's been a couple days since Star Wars Celebration, but I can't cover it all, and I'm not going to cover it all. But I'm going to give you some of my responses. First of all, they announced 3 new Star Wars films. And for some reason, I really feel like these are going to stick. It's not like before when they announced, oh, we're going to do an X-Wing movie, and we're going to do a Taika Waititi movie, and we're going to do a Rian Johnson trilogy. For some reason, these feel more solid, like they made such an event out of the announcements of them that if they don't come through, they're going to look like jackasses, quite frankly. So I feel like they're taking a very measured approach to all this. First of all, they didn't promise trilogies. It was just 3 movies. Also, they're putting each one in a different era. The sequel era with Rey, the post-Jedi era with The Mandalorian, and the Dawn of the Jedi, which is, I guess, some of the first Jedi. So it's like dipping their toes in the waters of each era to see what the fan reaction is, see what they can build out of these different movies, and I think it's a good approach. First of all, Rey is back. I love this. I love that they are basically taking the sequel trilogy era and continuing it. I have no doubt that by the time this comes out, there will be nostalgia for the sequel trilogy. I mean, Rey was introduced in 2015. It will have been a whole decade since The Force Awakens came out. And she's going to be building the Jedi School again. It's almost like they're saying, look, we know you wanted this in The Force Awakens, and we bumbled that a bit. But here's something good. It's like when you have a bad meal, and the restaurant says they'll give you a free pie. And then they describe the pie, and it sounds delicious. And then they say it's a chocolate pie. Well, that's your favorite kind of pie. And then they're like, and we'll give you extra whipped cream. And all of a sudden, you don't care about the meal anymore. That was in the past. You can't wait to have this pie. Now I'm hungry for pie. It's not even lunch yet, and I'm hungry for pie. Anyway, yeah, new Star Wars movies. The Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau series being capped off with a movie is an amazing idea. And just, quite frankly, yes, they've had the storyline kind of going since Clone Wars back in 2008, 2009. This is a long gestating storyline that's all interconnected. It seems organic. And to end in a theatrical release, I think is a fantastic idea. If there's going to be a trilogy in all of this, I think that has the highest potential to be that. But, they've only announced one movie so far, so let's just take that for what it is. Then they had the Ahsoka trailer, which just rocked. Look, for me, as soon as they have a trailer, that's when I'm like, yes, now we can start the countdown. If it's still a movie and script development, if they're shooting, I care. I mean, I do care, but it's not the same as having a trailer and going, this is done, this is when it's coming, start freaking out now. It's like the old saying, save all applause to the end. I'm going to save my slobbering fanboying until there's a trailer. But you know what? Ahsoka has a trailer, and it looks incredible. The story has me intrigued, and of course, it's kind of a live-action Rebels, which is my favorite Star Wars outside of the movies. So to see that storyline continued is amazing for me. I enjoy it so much. Now, I've read a lot of theories about what is going to happen and what it all means, but I feel like it's like that line in The Last Jedi. This is not going to go the way you think. Like all the theories before, like Snoke being Plagius or Rey being part of the Kenobi bloodline, all I'm saying is we shouldn't count our porgs before they hatch. Okay, enough with Star Wars Celebration. I know what you're thinking. My God, Dave, like 2 minutes on Star Wars Celebration? There's just not enough time in the world for all this Star Wars. And you know what? I love it. I love that there's not enough time for me to cover it all. That's what I've always wanted. And I got it. Here we are. So let's talk about Mandalorian. As always, spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Mandalorian, Chapter 23, The Spies. And as I've said before, I don't do recaps. Me doing a recap is like watching a Roomba vacuum a football field, a lot of aimless meandering. But I do have reactions, so here's mine. Oh, wait, by the way, if you have a I don't do recaps analogy, hit me up on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U, and I'll try to use it before my reactions. First of all, I was yesterday years old when I discovered that I needed so much more Grogu 88 in my life. Now, I know that Grogu was in IG-12, but I just think a homage to the OG assassin droid is in order. Also, it just flows better than Grogu 12. Grogu 88. Anyway, I loved it. It showed Grogu being defiant and having the means to be defiant. And Din's kind of resigned reaction to it all made it even better. It was a bit of character development that felt very real, relatable, and hysterical. But there was so much more. I mean, that was just kind of the opening. You're like, this is awesome. And all of a sudden, there's so much more. It is like the proverbial fire hose, and my face was just blown off with all the Star Wars water spraying into my mouth. I wish I did say it that way. Moving on. Then we got to see Palion. Dude looked so much like Palion that as soon as I saw him, I was like, there's Palion. And when the other officer called him Captain with a sneer, I was like, dude, go on, Captain who? Then Moff Gideon finally said the name, and I was like, yep, there it is. He's Palion. Oh, Thrawn's in the wings. And the idea of Gideon using the destruction of Mandalore as cover to rebuild the Imperial Navy, genius. So smart. I think they're really finding a kind of where they want to go with the story. It doesn't feel like me giving recaps like a meandering Roomba on a football field. It feels very like this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. Hang on. Now, I've seen a lot of reactions online saying things like, I don't like the sequel trilogy, and the Mandalore episode is just, playing into the sequel trilogy. I'm going to tell you something. This is the best thing to happen to the sequel trilogy ever, because that's exactly what Clone Wars did for the prequel trilogy. Now we're starting to see like what I'll call the character development of the sequel trilogy. They're starting to develop the why of things happening. And we're starting to get hooked into those whys and interested in the storyline so that when the events of the sequel trilogy come up, we'll be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Totally makes sense that the Emperor is back. And as I said, there's just really too much to react to, and it's only one more episode until the finale. So So let me just ask you, what do you think about the movies they announced? Are they going to make these? Which one are you most excited to see? That is such a negative question. Are they going to make these? But really, I think that's a fair question. Which one are you most excited to see? What's your big swing theory for the finale of Mandalorian? Let me know on Insta or Twitter at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2, and the letter U. And after this quick break is part 2 of my conversation with Dave Sherrill. As you'll hear, we jump right into talking about Travis Chapman and other artists that Dave is a big fan of. So keep listening, and we'll be right back after this. I felt like such a DJ. We'll be right back after this.
Cinema Craptaculous is your podcast destination for all things movies, good and bad, streaming series, good and bad, and pop culture, good, bad, and the ugly. You get a totally different show every week, such as People Also Watched with Adam, Dave, and Tara. They're 3 industry insiders who always find the hilarity in the big-budget feature and the lesser-known feature you may have missed. There is, of course, the Expanded Universe. This is your place to geek out. John, Doc, and S'more are your geek experts to talk about what's going on in the world of streaming series, movies, superheroes, pretty much any showbiz geek topic, they're going to talk about it. And, of course, there's the show that started it all, Cinema Craptaculous, with Stephanie, John, and Dave. You don't even need to have seen the movies these guys talk about to have a good time. So what are you waiting for? Go and subscribe to Cinema Craptaculous wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Have you ever seen Travis Chapman's work?
No, I don't believe so.
He's an artist like me, but he paints all of his backgrounds and everything. I think he does colored pencils, but he does the funniest Star Wars stuff. I wish I could think of some of it. Everybody should go check out Travis Chapman. He's making the funniest Star Wars stuff ever. He'll draw like Chewbacca drinking a beer, or just, I don't know. His imagination is wild.
I'll put a link. I'll see what I can find of him and put a link in the podcast notes.
Oh yeah. I tried to friend him on Facebook, and I don't think he knew who I was, or that I was a Star Wars artist. Maybe he didn't. He didn't like me. I don't know. He denied it.
He was like, I do not. You don't paint your own backgrounds. Sorry.
Call me when you can draw, son. You know what's funny is I was randomly friended once by Tony Millionaire. Do you know Tony Millionaire?
No.
Okay, Tony
But
Millionaire
I hope he's a millionaire.
He's not.
Okay.
Well, maybe he is, because his wife is Conan O'Brien's sister or something like that, or maybe his cousin or something. But I think Tony Millionaire is his brother-in-law. Well, Tony Millionaire is this amazing illustrator from Maine. I think he's from Maine, New Hampshire maybe. But he illustrates Mockies and Drinky Crow and all of that stuff. He does these really beautiful illustrations. He friended me when I wasn't an artist. I think he just liked that I was a drunk or something. But I just... randomly, it was really Tony Millionaire. He would post photos of himself and like whatever shit he's working on that day. And then after we became friends, I became an artist too. And I continued drawing Mockies and trying to learn it and doing all this stuff. Big fan of Tony Millionaire's. And then I had an art show. And so I did some neo-expressionist art, which is paint where you like throw paint and splatter and stuff like that. And he hated it so much he unfriended me.
That feels harsh, man. That feels really harsh.
I was like, am I not friends with Tony Millionaire anymore? And I looked at his profile. He was like bitching about people who do shitty art. I was like, he was like, yeah, I just throw paint around and pretend like it's art. And I was like, oh no, he's talking of. And here's the worst part is I have a Tony Millionaire tattoo. So now I'm stuck with his art.
Now, did you get the tattoo when you were friends with him?
No, I got it years before because I was a huge Tony Millionaire fan.
Oh my God.
I'll show it to you. It's a cool tattoo too. It's his character Drinky Crow.
I like your t-shirt too.
An alcoholic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's the crow is shooting 2 crows and they're shooting each other in the head. Yeah, this is Sean Star Wars is my t-shirt.
Yeah, it's a Darth Vader head imposed upon a stormtrooper head.
Yeah, it's woodcut blocks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he prints them like that, and they're rad. He has a lot of cool Star Wars stuff. That dude is awesome.
Are you part of like a strong Star Wars art community? It sounds a little bit like you might be.
Yeah, I guess so. I have the weirdest Star Wars artists. There is a Star Wars art community is some of the best trained artists and portfolio, or like classically trained oil painters. I've known them, and they'll sell classically oil paintings of like Yoda.
Yeah.
I kind of like the guys that do like fucked up weird stuff more, like Sean's acid Star Wars stuff, and I hang out with those guys. I don't seek them out, but I think we find each other.
As you've grown as an artist on the business side, as your popularity has grown, have you interacted with a lot of Star Wars fans in that time?
Oh, yeah. I will use them for reference photos, and I'll message the local 501st and see if they'll do stormtrooper poses for me so I can practice. And recently I've started doing more black velvets, which is black velvet really examples glow well. So I'm actually putting a call out. So anybody's listening to your podcast, if anybody wants to send me reference photos, I want to do a black velvet nighttime snow painting. So if somebody out in the country can run outside in a snowstorm at night and photograph themselves from all kinds of crazy angles with their lightsaber, and bonus points if you're dressed in costume, because that's my goal this year, is to do snow, like a Jedi fighting maybe in the snow, and very dramatic and all kinds of shit going on.
One of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is because it is, I find people have lost sight of the love for Star Wars and the divisiveness of Star Wars, in the sense that they'd rather argue about the things they don't like rather than like go, I love this is great, I'm not going to fight over it. Have you found that the community that you've developed, that have you found that it's decisive? Oh God, now I've lost the word decisive. Decisive is a completely divisive. Thank you. Yeah. The V is before the S. Do you find it divisive? Do you find everyone just kind of cool and laid back? What is your kind of experience with your world of a Star Wars fan?
The Star Wars fans that I interact with the most are my close friends, like everybody else. Yeah. So we tend to like pop on the chats right after, the Mandalorian episode. And we're like, oh my God, the Rancor was everywhere and stuff like that. Cool. Or they'll be like, oh, it was lame. I didn't like this. But I've joined a lot of Star Wars meme groups, and I'm starting to see a lot of toxicity and a lot of over-sexualization and sexism kind of in the meme culture more than in any of the other places that I've been. But I think that there is an element to any strong fantasy that is more desirable when your existence is a little more miserable. Like, do you know what I mean? When I was 7 or when I was 12 or whatever it was, there was bad things happening and it was stressful. And to be able to step out of my adolescent life of whatever was bothering me at the time, I was an overweight ginger kid, and I was really obnoxious. To tell you the truth, I was very, very country. Even for the country school that I grew up in, I was more country than they were. Also, very attention deficit, very hyper, and at the time, an off-world adventure with all these new things was so fucking appealing to me. And now it's not as important to me. And I think that there is an element of people who used to be miserable and they loved Star Wars so much because their home life with their parents or their sister or whatever, their home life wasn't good. So they really loved it then. And now things are good. They're married adults with a decent job and they have a kid that they like. And a new Star Wars things come out and you're like, it's not as good. I think you kind of like, maybe some of that is that your life is better. Like you don't need Star Wars as bad you don't need that escape like you used to. And also when we originally watched Star Wars when I was 11 years old, I didn't know a good movie from a bad movie. So when I saw a good movie like this, it was the best fucking thing I'd ever seen. And now when something comes out in Star Wars, I see people complain about Star Wars stuff. And like they still complain about Rey, and I was like, I thought Rey was cool. I like all the characters. I don't like complaining about stuff because I want them to keep making Star Wars stuff. Like that Lord of the Rings thing that came out, it wasn't perfect, but if everybody bitches about it, like they're not going to make any more of that shit. I want to see some new ports.
Yeah.
I don't have to fucking draw myself.
It's true. It's true. There's a certain push-pull with fandom that if you complain too much, you kill the thing you love. And then you're asking, why isn't that around anymore? Yeah. It's because you didn't buy it. That's why.
Yeah. Well, and there's it's very hard to make something that's very good. And I don't think people realize that. Everyone complains, well, this isn't perfect. Yeah, but if they really told you to do it, they said, we're going to give you $40 million in 10 years to make a Star Wars movie. Fuck, I couldn't do it. I don't know the first thing about storytelling and all that shit. Like, I'd try a bunch of cool stuff, but I guarantee you that's going to be a huge turd. The dialogue's going to be awful. It's just going to be monsters talking to each other in alien languages if it's just my idea.
All subtitled.
Yeah. But Star Wars reads on a lot of different levels for a lot of it's a romance between two men and a beautiful princess. It's an action film with lasers and shootings. It's a horror film with monsters. It didn't intend to be those things. It was just so creative and unusual. It became all those things, I
think that's a great description of it.
Yeah. And that's what's frustrating is that when the prequels came out, George Lucas wasn't a young man anymore. And he wasn't making the fantasy stuff that a young man wanted to make for himself.
Yeah.
He was an older gentleman with grandchildren, and that's where his love was. So he wanted to make something fun for them to see. And if you watch the prequels, it's easy to get frustrated and it's easy to get upset, but you also kind of got to go, I'm not the target audience. Like, if I watch Little Mermaid, I don't expect it to appeal to me. I expect it's a movie for little kids, and I watch it for that. So sometimes you watch the prequels and you go, it's a kids movie. It's a Star Wars kids movie. It's just like the animated series. It's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still very imaginative. Pardon?
Yeah. I lost where I was going.
Oh, no. But you ended up in a great place.
Yeah.
And the prequels are still very imaginative. The sequels are very imaginative. It still takes you back to that galaxy that's far, far away. It's it's a vacation every time. You know what I mean? For an hour and a half, all of a sudden you're on Tatooine, then you're on Hoth, then you're on Dagobah. Like you're fucking flying around the galaxy, seeing adventures and seeing fun stuff. And honest to God, when I watch Star Wars, I'm just looking at aliens. So when I saw the prequels, I was like, fuck yeah, lots of aliens. Yeah. It's still a lot of cool ones that felt like they're part of the world that was created in 1977, even though it's technology for 1999.
Yeah. People like an expansive universe. That's what they like about Tolkien, too.
Yes. And I think Star Wars is equal to the expansiveness of the Lord of the Rings world.
Absolutely. What we're talking about with the Jawas and the C-3POs and the fake R2-D2s, those were prototypes for the original droids, but they threw them in a Jawa transport because that was what would be in a Jawa transport, and that's the business they were conducting. And they don't really beat you over the head with it. You just kind of see the insides and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's what Tolkien does.
That's one of my favorite things about the movies is that they don't explain anything, nor do they say they ever will. That's...
Yeah. Now we know they're going to explain fucking everything.
Exactly.
Snoke's going to have like his own miniseries. They got a plan for Snoke. Every fucking like in the next 10 years, there's going to be like a musical series about like the Snoodles, the
Size Snoodles,
Size Snoodles,
Size Snoodles, and the Max Rebo band.
10 episode series about that band, and every little detail, the little the frog in the vape thing that Jawa's smoking, that's gonna have its own series. Everything's explained, but in the original ones, they just fucking put 2 seconds of it up, and they're like, "Oh, we caught that."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Come back and see us again.
Yeah. Some of my favorite moments are those things. It's funny, when I first saw the movies in Letterbox, like I saw them on VHS 4x3 for a long time, and then the first time I saw them in Letterbox, I was like, this is a brand new movie. And you see all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I just got the despecialized, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. Now, tell me, what is your favorite Star Wars memory?
Getting Star Wars toys for Christmas. In like 1982 or whatever it might have been. But being a little kid, open them up. The card was good. There's a little story, and you had this weird alien. My parents didn't have a lot of money, so they would buy the Star Wars toys that no one else was buying. So I had all of the strangest characters. I had the little bat guy that had a drink in Tatooine, and I had the spy droid that looked kind of like C-3PO. I had a lot of those toys, and I didn't know what they were, but I fucking loved them. Doing Star Wars toys is by far my favorite movie, or my favorite memory. But every time I see a new Star Wars movie in the theater, it's an exciting experience.
Yeah.
And you anticipate it, and you're like, God, I hope it's good. I hope it's really good. And sometimes it's not as good, but it's fun. It's always fun. Sometimes you see one and you're like the Andor. Was it Andor the movie or Andor the series?
Andor was the series. Rogue One is the movie.
When you saw Rogue One, and it was so fucking good. And you just like walked out and you're like, yes, I can make good shit again. The same thing with Mandalorian. When Mandalorian comes on, and I'm watching little fucking details that I'm like, that was from the animated series. Yeah, that was a good memory too. When like Boba Fett has the blaster rifle that was in the holiday special cartoon.
Yes. Yeah,
oh my God.
The disintegrator. Yeah.
Oh, and then he's riding Gronk, or what are those things called? The two-legged weird animals, but they were from the made-for-TV Battle for Endor special. And I was like, what the fuck? This is so much good stuff that was before that. It was just a couple of seconds on the screen.
Yeah.
And now it's coming back.
It's like they have all these dream boards that they can look back on and go, let's just take from this, and this.
Yeah.
And populate our world.
Yeah.
Hearing you talk about all that stuff it sounds like these iconic to you moments, which are great. But it makes me wonder, what are the top 3 elements that make Star Wars to you?
Oh, what brands it?
Yeah, like what 3 things does it have to have for you to go, oh, this is Star Wars? Because Andor is so different from Mandalorian, which is kind of different from the movies.
That was what was good about Andor, I thought, was that there's not a lot of stormtroopers. There's almost no lightsabers. There's not a lot of Jedi action. There's like a guy faking a Jedi, and that's really what like an Outer Rim settlement would be like. There wouldn't be a lot of exciting shit going on. There's blasters, but blasters kind of are consistent. It has to have blasters, but aliens. If I was watching a Star Wars show and there was not any fucking aliens, I'd be pissed off. I don't want to see humans. If there's no monsters and there's no robots, it's got to have monsters, robots, and aliens. Yeah, that's mine. That's if that's not in it, I'm fucking out.
It's not Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right now, looking into the future of Star Wars, we have like Andor Season 2, we have Mandalorian Season 3 coming up. It will have aired by the time this gets released, but for right now, it's coming up. Ahsoka, Acolyte, and then there's the comic books and possible movies. What are you excited for in the Star Wars future?
Well, I'm a big fan of Andor. Because I did a painting for Lee Towersy. Do you know who Lee is?
No.
Lee built R2-D2 for The Force Awakens. He actually built it for himself, and then Star Wars was like, hey, can we just rent you and your shit? Yes. And that's how he got into being a Star Wars actor. Well, I did a painting for him. I sent it to him. I did it super cheap. I was so honored to be asked, to tell you the truth, and I'm a huge nerd about R2-D2. So anyways, the next summer, he said, "Hey, can I send you a hat? Are you still at the same address?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And he sent me a production hat from Andor. And it says Pilgrim because that was the code name for it. And
Yeah.
at the time I had never heard of Andor. I didn't know it was a secret project. And now when that shit comes out, I'm enamored. I'm so excited about everything. Andor is great to me. I haven't really looked at the future. I was supposed to do that in January, kind of see what's coming out and when. But I like to play it, let it flow out.
Yeah, I've kind of reached that point where if there's not a trailer yet, I'll wait.
Yeah.
It's like if there's not a date and some footage in a can, I can wait to find out. Okay, so my final question for you, Dave.
Sure.
Is this. You go to Skywalker Ranch, and there at the gates, George Lucas greets you. What do you say to him?
Wow. Thank you. Of course you'd say thank you. Like, that's why I don't bitch about Star Wars. I fucking love it. Like, if I got the opportunity to talk to George Lucas, I'd be like, fucking thank you. This weird fantasy I had in the when did he write it? 72, 74?
Yeah.
An entire fucking lifetime ago. And it's been so much fun. All of this crazy shit that's come out of it, and so much good stuff too. Like Star Trek can't compete.
No.
Star Trek has been a TV show and it's been a movie, but it never was a fucking blockbuster event. And Star Wars is always that. Even the Star Wars TV shows are like,
yes.
When the holiday special came out, we were stopped down and like fucking watching new Star Wars shit. It was not very good, but spoiler alert. It was, it's every time there's Star Wars shit, it's the best shit ever. And I would fucking say thank you. It's the best.
Beautiful.
It's the best. He did something so cool.
Yeah, I totally agree. And have you watched the Star Wars holiday special since like 78?
People buy it and send it to me because, that's my thing is I do bad art. I already had it also. But they're like, everybody's like, hey, dude, what's your address? I got to send you something. And they'll send me the holiday special. And I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm watching this again. It's when Grandpa starts like getting horny and watching a tree girl like dance, a twee.
Yeah.
Is it twee? Yeah, he's watching a twee girl dance, and it takes like 20 minutes. And I'm like, it's not fucking worth it. It's not fucking worth it.
When B. Arthur is singing a song or narrating the scene or something,
Arthur's in it. Yeah,
it is really it's an acid trip.
It's painful to watch. It's like a high school play or something. No, I don't think the people that made it liked Star Wars very much, and I think the actors were not convinced about doing a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever heard the 1970s Star Wars disco records?
Oh, yes.
Dude, that's some of my favorite shit. Whatever got made in the 70s that was just fucking nuts. Like, that's the best.
That was riding the pop culture train of Star Wars.
Dude, that's art. To me, that's art.
Yeah.
You can keep your Mona Lisa. I want to see fucking 1970s stoner Star Wars bootleg shit. You know what I really love? Have you ever seen pictures of people's Star Wars costumes from like the 1980s?
Yes.
Early 80s, like when they were just like they were making sci-fi conventions and just like making gold foil C-3PO suits. Oh my God. I want that to come back. I want to like go to a convention and everyone's cosplaying with the shittiest costume. Just whatever they could make as fast as possible and it without a reference.
Yeah. It's like you can only get stuff at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you now. You have your studio set up. You have a painting. It's a barn covered in snow.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite kind of scenes is old wood buildings covered in snow.
Yeah.
Do you have plans for this one? What are you going to do with this one, or is it just kind of there to get you psyched up for the show?
I was trying to decide it today, but I left it out so that you could help.
No.
Like, it's like Hoth, right?
Yeah, it's totally Hoth.
Yeah. And there's a house, and there's a tree, and there's a fence, but there's nothing saying that the animals and things of Hoth. So then you've got like probe droids, Wampa, those weird the Tauntauns.
The Tauntauns. That's what I was thinking. It's like a Tauntaun farm.
I did a Tauntaun farm.
Oh.
Maybe there's a lot of sky up there too. We could put in some of those. I don't know what they're called, but they're like, you know what I mean? They were like curved like that on the ships on.
The snow speeders.
Yeah.
Yeah, the snow speeders coming in. What if this was right outside of where they took refuge? They had no idea that there was an interior barn 50
just
feet away.
like right here, Han Solo cutting open an ATSD.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't see it behind him.
Yeah.
And we'll call it just out of frame.
Just out of frame, exactly.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do
it. That's amazing.
This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes.
I appreciate this.
No problem. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, people can find you on Instagram at Dave Ruins Art, and I'll put that in the podcast notes. And your website is...
If you go to daveruinsart.com, it'll go there. But arrowheadcanton.com is the real website. I didn't want to be an international. I just wanted to have a website for my local store. So I called it Arrowhead Canton, thinking that I would never grow beyond a local store. Now I realize that I send things to Germany all the time. So now I should probably stop confusing people. So at daveruinsart.com, it just will immediately send you the right place.
Excellent. Thank you again, and thanks for letting me take part in the idea process of the painting, because that just thrills the shit out of me.
That was a blast. Yeah, that was great.
And again, thank you for sharing with the world what Star Wars means to you. Yeah. And I look forward to the Gollum Palpatine creature.
Yes.
something dark side. Gollum?
Shia Backins.
Oh, now I'm kind of obsessed with it.
Wait, I was trying to think of one of the riddles that Gollum said. I can't remember.
Oh,
like 3 horses on a red hill, stamp and stamp, and then stand still. I don't know. I think Bilbo said that.
Yeah. Well, I think any line said like Emperor Palpatine takes a new kind of menace and evil and threat.
What's the nicest line that we could try and do as Palpatine? Is it Palpatine or Palpatine?
Palpatine, I think.
Okay.
Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine.
I said the wrong droid name to Lee Towersy one time. I was so embarrassed. Like, I'm the worst Star Wars fan because I'm also a huge burnout. I partied really hard in the 90s. I was in a lot of bands that I don't remember, and I cannot remember the fucking name of anything.
I can't remember the names of anything anymore either. And there's so many. You talk about 9 movies or 10 movies, 11, 12 movies, and there's just too much to keep track of. And that's one of my biggest fears too with this is like people are going to be like, actually that was a R5D4, and it's like not the point, not the like, just not the point.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I promise I love Star Wars. When you make a mistake like that, they're like, "You're not a Star Wars fan."
Yeah,
fuck you. I am. Why are you gatekeeping Star Wars?
Yes.
Some people, that's the best part of their life is what they know about Star Wars, and I was that guy for a while. I was that about just when at a younger age as a man, you're territorial and you want to like. This is my territory. I know everything about it. And you jump into Star Wars and lore and stuff like that. So way to keep women from mating with you, I think. That's what it did for me.
Well, I couldn't throw a ball. I couldn't run a lap. I couldn't swim anything.
Yeah.
But I did know Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
And for the 2 people
and when you found those other dudes that could talk Star Wars with you, like, that was good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
These other kids were like talking about football and stuff. And I was like, okay, one time, Luke Skywalker, he had his laser sword. Star Wars is the best part of my life. My wife would not like to hear that, but I love her very much, but I get really excited about Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad she doesn't listen to podcasts. Nobody send that clip to her.
We're sending the clip right now.
Just make that the sound blurb for the interview.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate my wife and I love Star Wars.
Well, Dave, have a fantastic day.
This was a blast.
Thank you very much. It is. It is such a joy to talk to people about Star Wars and to find out what they love about it and what it means to them. Because it's just, I don't know why. It's like, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea for a podcast, by the way.
So that's what Star Wars means to Dave Sherrill. You can find more of his art at daveruinsart.com and on Instagram at daveruinsart. Get in on the conversation on Twitter or Instagram at Star Wars Mean to You. That's at Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. And hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. If you're liking the show, please give a 5-star rating and review. And join me next week for the start of my May the 4th countdown as I talk to J.C. Reifenberg, the creator and owner of the Hollywood geek bar Scum and Villainy. He has a huge fandom and history with Star Wars that is fascinating. And remember, the Force will be with you, always. Hi, this is Dave. And before we get to the show, I wanted to ask you a favor. One of our goals this year is to grow the show so that What Does Star Wars Mean to You reaches more listeners. And that's where we're asking you for help. And it's really easy. Wherever you listen to us, please hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on the platform you listen to us. We make a lot of fun of the algorithm and the smash that button thing, but it really does help us get noticed by new fans. And if you want to join in on the conversation, find us on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. Now, let's chat some Star Wars.